Yeah? Real quick.
Real quick.
Where's everybody standing on?
I will.
I'm just
Okay, I
looking at
appreciate
what
that.
we're being
I'll tell,
told we can
I'll
do.
tell Dana. All right.
That's where
Thanks,
we
Mike.
stand.
He said to tell Mike you look bored there, and Andy's watching and he can hear everything we're saying right now, and see us fine.
Well, it's live right now.
Okay.
Always calls me important.
That's the time,
Yep.
when you're not there, or you're not available.
Mhm. Yep. It's a regular meeting.
So,
Shall we?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Ready, Dana?
Ready, Dane?
Yep.
All right. Welcome everyone to the May 12th, 2020 regular meeting of the Town of Webb. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone that's watching. Just as an introduction, I have Councilman Kurt Gardner here on the left, and Councilwoman Barbara Green, Councilman Don Hale, sorry, not used to a mask, and Councilman Michael Ross, and myself, David Rivers.
Just smiling.
How they do? All right, the next regular meeting will be June 9th, 2020 at 7 p.m. And I do not know what the venue will be yet. The June audit of claims meeting is scheduled for the third Monday, June 15th, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. And it may be here and live, it may not be, depending on the situation. Executive session may occur this evening if it is deemed necessary. For correspondence, we received a nice thank you from a Mr. Andrews for our outdoor skating rink this past winter and his use of it. And there also is a thank you here for Kayak and for View for our contributions to them. As always, we're always accepting letters of interest from individuals interested in serving on either planning or zoning board of appeals. So keep that in mind. Thank you. The first item on the agenda is I need a motion for the New York State retirement system that the Town of Webb hereby establishes standard work days for elected and appointed officials and will report the days worked to New York State and local employees' retirement system based on the record of activities maintained and submitted by these officials to the clerk of this body. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. Second.
Councilman Ross, Councilman
Second.
Hale, second. Any discussion?
Doesn't that normally start at the first of the year? Is this an annual,
No, we do that calendar for 3 months when you're newly elected, so that ends March 31st.
oh, I see.
So we do it in April, which we didn't have the April meeting, so we did it in May.
Yeah. All right, and
But standard, it's this time of year.
so, any other discussion? Can I have a roll call vote?
Councilman Gardner?
Aye.
Councilman Hale?
Aye.
Councilwoman Green?
Aye.
Councilman Ross?
Aye.
Supervisor Birchchester?
Aye.
5 ayes.
All right, I need also, next on the agenda, I need I have a resolution that the board authorized supervisor to sign the rental agreement with Arizona Sunshine LLC and Souvenir Village for the use of the public restrooms at 3066 State Route 28, Old Forge, from May 1st, 2020 till December 31st, 2020, at a cost of $7,500 for the season, with a water bill being paid by the town. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Councilman Hale,
Second.
second. Councilwoman Green. Any discussion?
I think it's the same number we've been doing all along, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at this point, do we have somebody to clean it?
I think they do, don't they?
It's been cleaned right along, Rachel.
Oh, Rachel.
We've been
does.
cleaning it right along.
Yeah. And we'll discuss something about that later. So, any other discussion, questions? A roll call vote?
Should be the last time.
We hope.
We're hoping.
We're hoping. It's been said before.
Councilman Gardner?
Aye.
Councilman Hale?
Aye.
Councilwoman Green,
Aye.
Councilman Ross,
Aye.
Supervisor Bergstresser.
Aye.
Let's see that. 5 ayes.
So moved. Also need a motion to declare the 1989 Groundmaster mower D220 as surplus for disposal at an auction. We purchased a new mower, which was delivered this week, the DPW, and,
Toro.
what's that?
It was a Toro, right?
I think, yes, it was a Toro. And I believe this is the one they've been using, and then he's gonna take the one that has now that he's replacing this one with, and they'll refurbish that one up at the highway garage, and the town will use that one. So this is the old one the town's been using recently.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
89 was a good year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do I have a motion to declare it surplus?
I'll make a motion to declare it
Councilman
surplus.
Ross,
I'll second.
second, Councilman Gardner. Any discussion?
Who put this, Casey typically put that on the auction block, or does?
It goes to a public auction.
John
I
Mitchell
think,
will. John Mitchell will.
John Mitchell.
Oh, John Little.
no, they usually really does that.
Yeah. We're hoping to get something for it.
Yeah, it's probably not worth a lot.
Not
It was something.
Yeah. It'll pay for the bagger. Any other discussion? Can I have a vote?
Councilman Gardner,
Aye.
Councilman Hale,
Aye.
Councilwoman Green,
Aye.
Councilman Ross,
Aye.
Supervisor Bergstresser.
Aye.
5 ayes.
All right, thank you. Motion carried. What are your thoughts on the playground bid? You wanna give them a little background, Nancy?
Well, we went out for bid in March. Bids are due in April. We got one bid, and we have to decide if we're going to proceed. If we are, we can open the bid tonight and award it, or you can decide not to take the bid. I guess if you're going to do the playground, you need to open the bid.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would be willing to open it today.
I would too, but I mean, the state deemed it no good anymore.
It was, the one that's there is inspected, and we were told that it was not.
We should shut it down if we're not gonna do it either way.
Right,
Basically, exactly
Right.
right. If we
pull it out.
don't replace it, we need to tear that one out, and then we won't have anything. So
Right.
Well, we budgeted for it, and we talked about it a lot, so I
Yeah.
think we should probably open bid.
Yep.
Yeah.
So do you want?
So we're in agreement to open the bid.
Sure.
So the notice was that we, pursuant to resolution of the town board of the town of Webb, pursuant to law, sealed bids marked bid on the envelope will receive and publicly open and read aloud at a meeting of said town board to be held on the 14th day of April, 2020 at the town Webb Municipal Office Building, 3140 State Route 28, and a contract awarded to the lowest responsible bidder for the following: play equipment for age group 6 to 23 months, 2 to 5 years, 5 to 12 years. The budget for this playground is $50,000. Bid specs are on file with the town clerk. A non-inclusion certificate shall be included. Bidders must meet all specifications. Said board reserves the right to reject all bids for any reason whatsoever and to withhold the awarding of said contract. All bids to be in the hand of the town clerk of the town of Webb on or before 3 p.m. the 14th day of April 2020. Bids will be open read aloud at 7 p.m. Dated March 10th, 2020 by order of the town board. We didn't have the April meeting, so we're opening it today. We received one. It came from Bears Playground. Okay, there is a non-inclusion certificate, which I have to have. Bunch of references, some pictures. And the bid is so the bid does come to exactly 50,000. There's no charging for shipping, or I guess just shipping. Install, they're charging for install. So the total bid is for $50,000 even. And it is broken into the groups that we asked for. I don't know if you want it broken down that way, or you just want the total is $50,000 for the bid.
okay with that.
I'm good with the total.
You said there was no shipping, or there was?
No, they're not charging for shipping.
Okay, no shipping.
And they're going to
installation.
do the install, which
And that
we do.
includes demoing the old one and install,
It definitely includes the install.
removal?
It doesn't specifically say that.
Said something about, we talked about,
We could do
We could
that.
do it, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I
no,
don't,
if it's in there, we're not gonna do it.
Well, if it's in there, we can save money by taking it out,
Very good possibility.
typically, I mean,
but
not
she
always.
said it's not.
It doesn't appear to be, but I don't, in our bid specs, in the bid specs, it is part of the bid specs to remove
Okay.
old playground and finishing, so they are removing.
All right.
So
They are
we-
demolition and removal is part of
the bid spec.
the contract, or the bid.
In a lot of cases, if we do in-house help with these, we can hopefully take a little bit off.
We can answer that question.
Can ask them.
And they didn't give us a specific price for the demolition, so, yeah, we could ask.
I mean, we can at least offer the trucks all the way.
Right, right.
So would you like a motion?
I would love a motion
I would
to
like to
accept
make
the
a
bid.
motion to accept the bid.
Councilwoman Green, do I have a second?
I would very much like to second that motion.
Councilman Ross, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
I will contact them tomorrow. Are we having them start whenever they can?
I would, yeah.
Yeah. That was the
Okay.
question I was gonna have is when, you know, I'm assuming because they're starting to let the contractors and stuff go back to work, they can probably,
And they are working from home, I know they're
Well,
not
if they could firm
working.
up a contract or, you know, a schedule.
Right.
I will get a hold of them and,
And I think if we give them lead time, that gets some, I'm sure there's some of it at the manufacturer.
oh, yeah, right.
I'll contact them tomorrow.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right, thank you. Discussion, what do you wanna do about the 4th of July fireworks?
Have them. I'm not willing to dump them yet.
Shut them down.
They're on a Saturday.
Yeah, I don't agree with having them. I think that people will come here, that's fine, but I think for us to corral potentially thousands of people is a really horrible idea.
I think most people will be out on their boats, and I think that shows that we're throwing up a yellow or a white flag, we're surrendering to this thing. We don't wanna say we're beaten, I really don't. I want our Main Street to have an option. People can make their choice whether or not they wanna go or not.
Okay, I
That's
hardly
my
disagree
feeling.
with you.
I don't agree with it. Because on a Saturday, it is.
That's just my feeling. Maybe I shouldn't do whatever you like.
On a Saturday, and especially with most of the other places shutting their fireworks down, I think we'll attract an even bigger crowd up here, more than we can handle. If there's extenuating circumstances, nothing to do with whether we're willing to entertain the tourists and the people that are here or not, I think we're gonna pick up a larger crowd because nobody else is holding fireworks, they've all been canceled.
Well, another thing we gotta think about is if you try and put on a show with that magnitude, because we do get a lot of spectators, is the rest of the town ready for that? Are we gonna have anything open, are we gonna be?
And would it even be allowed?
Well, that's.
There's a lot of questions.
We can always pull the plug on it later on, we don't have
Yeah.
to do it right now.
I kinda figured that in the next week or so, we're gonna start seeing guidelines being put out, hopefully of some sort of details, which we're all waiting for, as to,
2 weeks,
Yeah.
What
starting
does it,
Friday,
what
the
doesn't?
next 2 weeks are gonna tell the tale, I think, as to whether opening
But
up.
they're saying that campgrounds can
Sure.
open, they're saying that a lot of things can start to open.
This is an uncontrolled environment. This isn't something that you can get people 6 feet apart or any of that. I just think it would be,
I'm not even worried about that, I think we'll be beyond that by the time 4th of July rolls around, but it worries me that nobody else is scheduled. So that we're gonna pick up not just the normal Saturday night, and Saturday nights, I've been here when the fireworks are on a Saturday night, and it's bad.
You really think that we're gonna get any more than we normally get?
I don't think we can fit anymore. I mean, I've seen them parked all the way down Main Street, the back streets, the side streets,
Well, we
and
don't have to get more of the ones we had, there's a lot.
gridlock
Oh, no, we're
for
packed,
2
we're
hours.
definitely packed.
Yeah, it's a tough question.
That's why I'm asking.
I mean,
I'd
do
like
you
to
have
table it. We don't
to
have
say
to
yes or
answer
no?
no.
Can you just, I don't know.
I think if we're gonna announce it, it should be now, rather than.
Like I said, I just think it seems like we're throwing in the towel, you know.
We
Everyone
are.
thinks we're close. Yeah, but I mean, we have a lot of people that live here, and they have families that come up here, and they'll spend their time, you know,
Mhm.
responsibly out on their boats and that kind of stuff, so.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I have great faith in the human capabilities of pulling this off.
I guess my concern is that with reading all the information that's coming out and all the details, you know, it seems like any kind of mass gathering has to be somewhat controlled in some sort of way. It seems like that's what they're gonna lean towards, and so that's what I was waiting to find out for, is find out how much, what is it that they're asking for us to put in place, because the reality is if they start asking us to put it in control, there's no way that we're gonna have the enforcement to,
Well, you're right.
to do
They
that.
keep
And-
moving
and-
the-
and
We
so
don't know
might
where the
be a new guy.
goalposts are at this point.
I can tell you after the conversation last
Mhm.
last night, 2 nights ago, last night, is that by the 1st of July, all restrictions will be lifted if everything goes well in our region. Or if things don't go well, we'll be back to square one.
Back in the house.
So right now, I don't have a crystal ball. But if the fireworks were in the middle of the week, I'd think twice about it. But on a Saturday night without any other areas holding fireworks, just.
Well, I mean, and Saturday is also a transition day, so you have a lot of people, as many people heading out or heading in that day, you know, so there's a lot of traffic going south, a lot of turnovers. So I don't think the number's gonna be any bigger.
Well, if you look at outdoor concerts, sporting events, they're doing them, but they're doing them without spectators at this point. So, should I have fireworks without spectators? Or not there?
Or just people on their boats.
That's a tough one.
There's no way to limit it
No.
like
No.
that. There's no way to limit it.
Well, we
And
don't
you're
have
putting
the
your
capabilities, and I
police-
wouldn't really wanna limit it. I mean, we
Right.
want them to be responsible and have their social distancing in place and their masks, like, if we're still at that level.
No,
It won't occur.
Has Inlet weighed in on fireworks for the Fourth of July by any chance?
don't know, I haven't asked.
Okay, thank you.
No, well, what's the consensus? I'm gonna put it to a vote, I say no.
I say no.
Cancel.
I say no.
Kurt?
You know, I'm on the fence, I hate to turn them off without knowing why we're doing it, but
Mhm.
at the same time, it feels like we're gonna be pushed into that corner anyways, most likely.
And when we get pushed into that corner, we'll make that decision. I hate to turn them off this early.
But I also, there's too much like unknown factors right now, we just don't, we haven't even opened up, we don't know if we're going up, we're going
We
down,
might not even be open, Kurt.
you know, so,
The state might allow us.
I mean, I guess I'm against it then, because my gut tells me that's probably the right thing to do.
I guess I'm kinda on the fence too, it's a very tough one, I'm sure there's gonna be people, no matter what you do, it's gonna be right or wrong or whatever.
That's what most of the decisions are.
Yeah, but it does scare me, because I've said for many times now, I'm a little worried about opening up and just going crazy so fast, so furious, because we rely on July, we rely on August, we rely on the fall, and if we do this wrong, we're back done, so I guess I'm gonna wait towards not having the fireworks.
I mean, I think we're gonna have a good crowd for the 4th of July, even without the fireworks. I don't think it's gonna hurt us business-wise.
I mean, at the last minute, if things are different, I mean, if they come up with a cure or whatever, can you say, hey, we're gonna have them, and what's the difference, right?
Possible.
I guess that's where I'm at, like, you know, if everything opens up and the numbers continue to drop fast and everything's declining and restrictions are being lifted, then, you know, it doesn't take much for us to flip it back on, I don't think.
But do you know, Nancy, if the company that does it, that might be a question too, is how long can they hold off on
So
the
it depends, if
date?
you tell them tomorrow that you're canceling, they're obviously going to book a spot.
Sure.
If there are any spots.
Well,
to
if there
book.
aren't any, I mean, they're
Right.
gonna take it, they're gonna wanna know right away, so if you hold off, you can let them know later, I don't think there's a penalty or anything.
No.
It's just, when do you let them know? You gotta give
Right.
them proper notice, but it is only May.
That's,
Right.
I guess that's why I mean a little bit, because if you do, something does happen and you say, hey, we wanna have them, and you can't, because they already, we can't get somebody to do it.
That's why I'm asking, I mean, one way or the other.
Have a big hurrah in the fall.
Well, like
We
you
take
said, it's like,
another fire, 4th of July in August, you know? Fill a weekend that normally we wouldn't have that crowd.
It was changed by a month in the past due to horrible weather.
Mhm.
Right.
Oh, that's true. The weather has been.
so we'll say we'll pause it for now.
I think, Mike. They already got three.
That's,
Save your breath.
Well, maybe not four.
All right, so we're not, we're
I
gonna,
said no.
we're gonna pause them for now.
I'm four.
We can do that.
You could also ask the company what they,
Yeah, we'll ask them
what
what they,
is their, I mean, they might have been already told they can't do them, I don't know what the governor.
and not only that, we can ask them too, look, if things change and we find out circumstances have
Mhm.
changed, is there a possibility we can get you back?
We're good customers of theirs, I think we should find out what they're intending.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. We'll inquire.
I mean, I know that almost every other event leading it, even going in through the summer in our area, it seems like are
Nothing's
being cut, so.
everything's delayed, canceled, or just the nature of the beast. Okay. Councilman Gardner,
Yeah.
what do you have for us?
Let's see, talked with Jackie for recreations. This is a statement she put out. We are all aware of the COVID-19 and how it is impacting our lives and community. We look forward to the end of the pandemic. The Town of Webb Recreation Department expects to move forwards with some type of summer programming, depending on recommendations from the WHO, CDC, and DOH. Our hope is to either continue with our same program or make modifications to our existing program. Safety is our #1 priority. So she's playing around with many different options, you know, I mean, whatever it's gonna be the safest priority at the time, but, you know, at this time, nothing has been put out for that, so we're still
She's
on the
in the same
assumption
boat
that
with us.
something's gonna happen
Mhm.
until we're told that it's not. Same thing with the beach. Beach is still planning on being open. There hasn't been anything put out to date as far as telling you exactly what we can do and can't do, but there's gonna be a reduction in crowd size on the beach and we're assuming and stuff like that, so we're in a holding pattern there, but it's on the assumption that the beach will be open at some capacity. And then, advertising, you know, we're in a kind of a state of a pause for advertising, you know, basically the state and I Love New York and, all the different regional tourism councils have, gone on a motion of not pushing people to come here. People will be ready for them when the time is right. Waiting on the green light basically from, New York and from the tourism boards, that we work with to really put the push out there. So that's still not here yet, but, you know, we do want people to come when the time is right, you know, obviously. As far as snowmobile trail maintenance, I talked to them, they're grooming the trail, or not grooming, but they're raking the trails out and maintaining them, and they're kind of, doing what they normally do and maintaining all the groomer stuff, and really changing over
There
there.
major construction changes this year, not maybe changing any of the trails, or they just?
He said just normal maintenance. I think he's got some, you know, flooding places that they're going out there trying to alleviate and just normal maintenance as far as moving dirt around and taking care of wet spots and stuff like that as far as, you know, keep improving them.
All right.
Mike might know more because it's my first year with them, so.
Tree, falling down trees,
Yeah.
culverts that are washed out, that kind of stuff, that's just natural maintenance.
They talked to DEC, they wanna go out and take a good look at the bridge that we threw in
Oh,
there
that had to
last
get,
fall.
I can report on that, that was put in and then they gotta change it, but it's all good.
Mm.
I did want to bring up something too that, was so much board related, but town related, that, there has been a group that's been established, that Mark Mayer's kind of, he's the contact person, he's heading it up more or less, but it's everybody working together, with businesses, restaurants, hotels, retailers, hopefully we'll get more involved. You know, Mark recommends reaching out to him via email, he'll add you to the base camp. It's a great, community of all of us talking about what we think we might be doing and what this person's doing and what the other person's doing, and it's been a tremendous resource for me in the few days that I've been involved in it, and gained a lot of knowledge from it. So, you know, I would say anybody that's has a business up here, reach out to them. They do Zoom meetings, they have all sorts of things. It's pretty organized.
What is it again?
It's a accommodation, I don't even know what the official name of it, but essentially it's a business groups. It's all sorts of
What's the name of it?
hotel accommodations.
So where do you reach out to?
Mark Mayer.
On,
Within
on what?
Inlet Area
Had the
Business
business.
Association.
And yeah,
have
you can
their-
reach out up there too. There,
That'd be a safer,
Okay.
rather than
Yeah.
giving out a personal email.
and maybe we can put that on the. I can give you the
Okay.
information tomorrow, or we
No,
can
that's fine.
maybe put it on our website or
Just get it, Mitch.
something like that.
Get me the information we can put up.
And
Yeah,
then-
he's had it up for a couple of years.
Has it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just it's a good
Like
group.
the whole
So
town.
I highly recommend anybody down in the area here that's a business and unsure of what everybody else is doing. Well, you can find out very quickly by joining this group.
Good.
Do you want me to talk about the Facebook thing or we?
I don't know when you're doing your,
I'll do that, I was gonna do it at the end, I
Right.
had
Okay.
to
That's it.
address the emails and stuff, which I gotta borrow a copy of, yeah. In mine.
I think that's it for what I have for right now, other than the other stuff that we're gonna.
Okay, thank you. So, who's next? Councilman Hale.
That'd be me. All right,
That would be.
we'll start out with, we're talking with Corey Reed in regards to, the plans for the disinfection for the wastewater treatment plant. As you guys all know, you've got the same information I got. In regards, they are done to the point where now we can actually, hopefully that'll move us up in the queue financing wise. Now, it seems to be why we had a lot of points last year. We didn't get enough points, whatever. And the only thing we could figure was that we weren't shovel ready. Well, today we are. So hopefully that needs to go in June, so the funding will be, we should have a pretty good idea, if we're gonna be funded for that. We need to be funded for that. Other than that, otherwise, we're gonna have to, have conversations with DEC going forward, because that's a pretty big number. That's a significant amount of money and pretty big improvement needed, and it's a mandated improvement. So, I mean, we're entitled to some kind of funding.
Yeah, we may have to make decisions on what we wanna do over there.
Well,
Put off.
there's gonna be some tough decisions to be made, and there's gonna be some tough conversations we're gonna have to have with the powers to be also. And it's gonna be a tough year, I know it's gonna be a tough year trying to, it's not gonna be good, this COVID thing has really hurt the economy, so, well, we gotta do what we gotta do. We just gotta play the hand that we're dealt, and we'll see how it comes out.
Yep.
So we'll keep you informed and we'll stay on top of it. But I think we might be in really good shape as far as getting, the maximum funding on that, which would be wonderful. The district could really use it. We also have, one of their technicians is, he was supposed to start, I don't know if he started yet, but he's gonna be doing some I&I, work for us. So, and they've got some problem areas that they've actually identified, so they're gonna continue on with that, so. That's something we've been talking about for a long time, so here we are. And hopefully that gets off the ground this week, if not next week. As you all know, they're doing a great job over there, the DPW guys, and working with the highway guys on putting in the new line at Adams Street. They replaced out the old, basically clay tile. And it's probably circa 1940s. Maybe 50s, but nothing more than 50s, but I think it's more than 40s actually. Could even be older than that. But it's pretty flat pipe, but it'll be a huge improvement because the factor, the coefficient of the pipe is so much better on these long sections. So even though it's a flat pipe, we'll have better capability of actually maintaining it, flushing it, and we'll have less blockages. So we're a couple huge blockages in there that we couldn't even video. That's okay. That's gonna be a huge improvement, and that'll save us a lot of money, because we've been using Egan.
Twice this year.
Yeah, so I mean, and that's, for the cost of the pipe, that's half the cost of one trip for Egan, so.
Right.
It's great, our guys are working to get that done, they're doing a great job. They got a new employee there, some guy, an older guy with wild hair, and he seems to be hustling pretty good.
And he needs a haircut.
He does need a haircut. He calls it his COVID due, is what he calls it. Main Street, a lot of conversations, I've been talking with the CAA and stuff, and we're gonna have a meeting tomorrow night. It's gonna be another virtual meeting. And, there's some questions, they wanna know where they're going, and they don't know where they're going, and they want answers, and I agree, it'd be nice to give them answers, but I don't have any answers because the goalposts. Does anybody know where the goalposts are today?
Right.
No, they just keep moving. So, a vague answer is not what they want, but that's a vague answer is all you can give at this point in time, which is disheartening.
That's what I've been getting, constantly.
So,
Although,
Frustrating.
a lot of it got answered Monday night, so I'll
I
go
know.
over some of it.
okay. But I'm looking forward to getting that, getting Main Street open. I'd like to see them, you know, do the right thing, do the responsible thing, and I think we could really, Main Street could use it if we don't want to lose their season. And everybody has an option, you don't have to open your store or not, you know, so we'll see how this plays out. But if somebody's uncomfortable, nothing says they have to engage, you know, you do what you need to do. So open Main Street, that's pretty much what I got, at this point in time. I really do wanna have fireworks on.
We might.
We all wanna have them.
We
you know,
might.
it's-
I wanna fight this thing, and I think it's hurting our town, it's hurting everybody's psyche in town, and I think everybody will come out of it stronger, it's just, boy, it's been a tough road.
It is.
I think we'll know a lot more in 2.5 weeks too. I mean, like, there's no gauge yet, you know, as far as,
I don't even know what a metric would be,
So,
where do you start?
know,
What's
so-
it- and what they're gonna use for a metric, it's question, they don't even know what they're gonna use for a metric, they have an idea, but we don't really have any solid details on it.
Actually, they're lining up now,
Well, that's good, they need the
Yeah,
lineup. 'Cause
they're lining up.
We're getting ready to,
because it was,
this timeline is rolling out, and there's not a lot of stuff filling in behind it. So-
I got tired of making phone calls and getting, we don't know.
Yeah, that's not a good enough answer.
No, it wasn't, it's all you got.
I know, but it's still not good enough.
Well, I got a lot of them last night, we were on an hour and a half with the county,
Well, that's good.
so, I don't talk about it.
All right, well, I'm gonna let it go then.
Okay. Councilwoman Green, you're on.
I got a book, you know.
I know.
The board did receive an email from the water safari that showed a good comprehensive plan that was sent from the New York State Hospitality and Tourism Association's Parks and Attractions Council to the governor's office regarding controlled attractions that they consider the water safari and others. And Katie made a statement of, on May 6th, we are remaining positive about opening this summer and preparing as if we will open. Beyond that, it's too soon to confidently provide an exact opening date. We're committed to opening this summer as soon as it's safe to do so with guidance from New York State. So they are encouraged and hopeful, so that's a good thing. And their plan was remarkable. The plan was remarkable, what they had in it. Kurt read the rec statement, so I'll leave that. Mike and I met with Steve Eustavinas at Macaulay on Saturday to discuss possible scenarios for reopening at Macaulay. Sanitization was a priority subject. We'd like to see the purchase of an electrostatic fogger for up there, for disinfecting both the chairs, the lift chairs, and the interior of the buildings. Scott Gaffney believes we should have these for town buildings anyway, more than one. I really haven't gotten his complete feedback, but they're really quite effective for sanitizing
Do you
all
have something in
surfaces.
mind? I mean, is there something that we have in mind?
There's a few different kinds out there. I know the school has one that I saw that they use like in lockers and rooms and all kinds of stuff. Scott said he can look at Granger and the Blue Book, is it?
USA.
USA Blue Book. And McQuaid and Bannigan also have
Okay, those options, great.
different types. Yeah,
Didn't
there's
mean to
several
interrupt,
options.
just-
Clorox has one of their own. So anyhow, the school does have one. We talked about the need for more cleaning and sanitizing of the restroom facilities at Macaulay, just because of heavier traffic and an increased need with COVID. Steve said that he can increase the cleaning schedule in the summer with his existing staff, but winter would require help. So Mike and I feel that a second cleaning position that I think we've talked about anyway, a second cleaning position that would have, pardon me, I lost my spot, that would be beneficial at this increased time of need. The person could clean the beach house restrooms in the summer because Jackie has said that with this going on, she doesn't want her guards being responsible for cleaning toilets. Plus, I didn't realize, or didn't think about it, I guess I should realize, we have buses that show up down there with
Mhm.
60 people at a time going in to use those bathrooms. So the lifeguards shouldn't be cleaning the bathrooms. It should be somebody who comes in that knows what they're doing. And,
Right.
so we need to see if we could have that person do the beach house in the summer, Macaulay restrooms in the winter, and if someone trained with Rick to help with his cleaning, increased cleaning load, then we have somebody also if he gets sick.
A backup, yeah.
Yeah, or takes vacation or whatever. It's worth noting the hardware told us that they are not going to do restrooms, public restrooms this summer at Old Forge Hardware, so that'll increase the need for cleaning at Souvenir Village and ultimately our new location when we get it built. So Steve's gonna work with Mike Farmer to come up with options of written plans for social distancing, customer safety at Macaulay, and to propose restrictions that are lifted as restrictions are lifted, during the phases dictated by the governor's office. Safety of Macaulay staff will be part of that consideration as well. So hopefully he can do a plan A or B and not have to go into C, but it's the same thing, the big question mark, so.
Let me see if that sprayer qualifies for reimbursement from FEMA.
That would be nice, but I think if we had,
Like
They
you
have-
should, I'm just gonna double check.
they have a handheld device that you can get a backpack type, and you can actually get one that's on a trolley, so you can carry like a 5-gallon
Mhm.
container rather than having to reload
You might need
constantly.
both.
Pardon?
You might need
Surprised.
both.
Yeah, well, yeah,
One for
yeah,
high production areas and then
That's
one
right.
for traveling.
And you can run chlorine or alcohol-based products
Yes.
to what you want.
I met with School Superintendent Rex Germer, George Hildebrandt, Diane Haru for the monthly liaison meeting. In regard to our summer rec program, using the school will depend on guidance from DOH, CDC, and the governor's office. Currently, there is no access since the school's closed, and in the future, it will require planning for use and disinfectant. With, Jackie and Rex will have to figure that out. The senior class is still waiting for the same guidance to see if they will be able to have some sort of graduation acknowledgement with school officials and family. They're considering several options. The seniors are involved in the decision-making, some of which may involve town property. So we just want to keep that in the back of our heads that if they ask us, if it's allowed, I just hope that these kids will have a way of celebrating their high school
Senior
years
year
together.
and stuff like
Yeah,
Nice.
so by the end of June, hopefully things look a little better. So I hope we can accommodate them any way that we can. I spoke with Debbie Russell, president of the Old Forge EMS, and she is a nurse also, regarding preparedness of our local EMS. And she once again assured me that they are well prepared, they have protocol in place, and are watching neighboring counties for COVID-related numbers that could affect us here as travel increases. She stated there's no mandated testing for first responders. They check their temps before entering the ambulance and monitor themselves for symptoms. She said that the EMS department has been in touch with Herkimer County about testing. We both agreed that they and all of our frontline workers should have access to testing. She was on a Zoom call with CAP 21 Healthcare meeting the other night. Dr. Perlansky was on that call, and she said she is working with MVH for testing to be brought here. I know Dave will tell you later about talking to Bassett about the possibility of mobile testing. I've reached out to MVHS in this regard as well. Old Forge EMS is comfortable in their arrangements with inlet. These are kind of answers to some of these questions. I hope that people grasp that from what I'm doing. They're comfortable with their arrangements with Inlet, Big Moose, and Boonville if extra ambulances are needed at any point. They have all the PPE they need. The county's been great to them. Deb emphasized that people need to be responsible for themselves. And please wear your mask, wash your hands, and use hand sanitizer. This is a letter that I got in response from Dr. Attilio from MVHS. Ms. Green, thank you for reaching out, and I'm glad to help you where I can. Your inquiry regarding the availability of community testing for COVID-19 with respect to both disease testing and immunity antibody testing is very prudent in anticipation of the upcoming summer surge in Old Forge. Testing supplies remain in short supply and high demand, and the Mohawk Valley system is not in a position at this time to provide widespread testing for COVID-19 infections to any of the communities that we serve. Antibody testing is becoming more available and is currently being offered to those patients assigned to our MVHS clinics. But again, we're not in a position to offer this testing more broadly to our surrounding communities. So they can't do community testing yet. Please note it remains our priority to support the health and safety of our entire region. To that end, I will be reaching out to our leadership in lab services to further explore when and how we might be able to support the Old Forge community in providing these tests. Thank you again for your support in fighting against COVID-19. Respectfully, Dr. Attilio. I also reached out to Pat Russell today by email regarding Herkimer County testing. Dave can elaborate more on that later. I did not hear back from Patrick yet. The town board is going to be meeting with the Community Health and Wellness Fund Healthcare Committee to discuss the possibility of arranging a contractual agreement with Mohawk Valley Health Systems to retain our 2 full-time physician positions. We are consulting with our attorney. All parties are encouraged by the development of the conversation. With COVID, when we do get through this stuff going forward, the board should look at updating policies that were recommended, like Mike said. Okay, I'll leave it then, I'll let you go ahead and have that one. Sorry, I know I always do this to you guys, but there was a lot of things to be said.
We haven't met in a while, it's.
I know. The only
Yeah,
other
us too.
The only other thing I wanted to talk about is what we started to touch on, about hand sanitizers. And if it's possible, and I've sent an email to our attorney to see if we could do this, I copied everybody on that email, like I do. But I'd like to see about doing a bulk order that we could supply, Kurt and I talked about this with Mike Farmer, that we could supply wall mount hand sanitizers for businesses. We've ordered ours, but so that businesses could buy from us at cost. So Chuck Schweitzer from McQuaid and Bannigan is looking at a type that could use any kind of sanitizer, so you don't have to have the specific brand or cartridge. So if one company runs out, you still have access from others. So I know that it's questionable. We've got to see if we can legally do it, but I think it would be great if we could use our purchasing power to provide this for any area businesses that are interested. So if we can, Mike Farmer is standing ready for Alexis to shoot out an email to any businesses that would be interested. So I can't tell them tonight, but as soon as I hear back from Brian,
Okay.
We'll
I
see
think some
what
of
he
the
says.
local businesses are actually starting to think about that, Barb. I see masks on sale, and I see a lot of sanitizers on sale, and that might just happen anyways,
Well, this,
without the town having this.
Lisa Murphy actually gave me this idea at Tony Harper's, and she would buy multiples.
Yeah.
And she said it would be so much easier if we could use the purchasing power of a bigger entity, so it makes
What kind
sense.
of dollar amount are we talking, 10,000, 20,000?
No,
Well, that's $50 a gallon for that stuff, so I mean, the sanitizers, but if we get volume, we might get a hell of a deal.
right, I'm thinking more the devices, and then, they might have to get a case or something with each device, I don't know. So Chuck sent us some information today, but he's still waiting to get the information on the device itself.
If they're refillable, I can get all the hand sanitizer we need from,
If they're that kind of refillable, I don't know if they're a bag, there's all
If
different
somebody have a
kinds.
cassette you put in, somebody just fill in the top.
I got 16
That'd be
gallons.
That's what we really want now.
Yeah. I'll-
That won't work in those though, I don't think.
Yeah.
Not the ones we bought. They're pre-cartridge, they're
Oh, no,
pre-bagged.
not the pre-cut, not the
Yeah.
pre-packaged.
Yeah,
The ones we
well,
bought.
so
I know.
stay tuned, we're looking into it and we'll see
Yeah.
what we come up with.
Well, it might be a good opportunity
Mhm.
moving forward. I mean,
Yeah,
if it works out for us, I mean, it is our town. so-
Right. And for
I mean,
now,
it's not costing us anything to do it.
no, and for
Right.
now, if they come up with a pump bottle, I tell them save those soap bottles, bring them in, we can refill them here for them for now, temporarily.
We can.
We got plenty of it here.
well, believe it or not, that's it.
You sure?
Well, I could probably come up with more,
No,
but,
it's okay.
okay.
Sure. Well, I kinda have a
Mr.
small
Ross.
book myself, so, I guess I'll just basically start out with, I would like to thank the community, the town employees, and all of our frontline workers. This has been tough, and I would also like to thank the town board, because for those that think that we aren't reaching out and doing all those things that we're supposed to do, we really are. We're talking back and forth all the time, we're trying our darndest, so. Anyways, thank you to everybody in the community, and like I said, the frontline workers. It's tough. I would like to ask the supervisor an update on the LED street lighting project because of this deal. Are they still going forward, or are we still going forward?
I got an email from, oh yeah, got an email, they kind of went into hibernation for a little while during the COVID. I got an email recently in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks maybe, that they're back to working in the offices. So right now they're doing our engineering study. That's as far as it is.
So we're moving forward.
It's moving forward.
Okay. Another note, as far as the playground, I think it's awesome that we're gonna try to keep that going, because when the kids can get outside, we just need that.
Absolutely.
But I have talked to Scott Gaffney, our DPW superintendent, because believe it or not, the ship is on that same red flag. And we're gonna try and resurrect it to make it work, because the health department puts up the red flag for those things. And there's some things with it that we think we can fix to keep it. So we are gonna work on that. I even offered myself if he needs me. I'm sure some of the workers in the DPW department will be cutting and fixing and trying to make that work out. I would also like to ask the supervisor if he could, or maybe the highway superintendent. There's a couple of spots on Route 28. I know this isn't a major thing, but down by Birds Marine, the bridge by the old mill, and in front of the old Foley's, which is Hollister's now. Through the winter, there was some nasty bumps there. And I know the summer they get a little smoother, but they're gonna get worse. And I don't know if the state could put on their schedule to look at those spots and maybe fix them.
I can
because
send
know
them
like
something,
our-
let Casey send them something and see what we
Right,
can
I know the dump trucks and the UPS drivers and all that, they hit them bumps, they're nasty. So if you could write that on your list. Unfortunately, Kurt, I'm gonna throw this in your lap, I have to ask the question. Have you moved forward on the boat trailer parking at North Street?
So, but the signage is out, and the barriers, the rock barriers have been put in to divide the parking lot, 50-50, we're not 50-50, but more trailer parking than car parking over there, but, we put the signage out, and there are trailers that are moving in over there. You know, there was a pretty good discussion that was happening there with the trailers, and it got kiboshed basically with everything that happened. We kind of it stalled there, but there were some really good ideas thrown out as to how we could possibly control and manage some of the issues. So hopefully by winter, we'll be able to implement some of those things into place as far as getting people to park correctly, and if they don't, being able to contact them and get a hold of them rather than just being a mystery of whose trailer is it, you know? And that's one of the big things that we're trying to identify. As far as winter parking goes, there has been discussions with private individuals about them opening up long-term paid parking for people that do want to leave a trailer somewhere that they can access throughout the winter, that there might be more options for that coming up this winter. But as far as the boat trailer parking goes, the lot is open. Hopefully everybody parks correctly, pay attention to the signs, you know, don't make a mess of it, and make it so everybody can get in there and get out of there easily still, so. That's kind
Good
of
luck.
where it is.
Good luck.
So, yeah, I know it's my first year with the boat.
Well, it was,
Good luck.
everything got going on it, we had some great conversations
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
ideas in regards to it, and then this all happened.
We're gonna be picking the ball up on a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
So,
so I mean,
I anticipate soon we'll be,
but I think we can manage our way out of that with everybody will think it's a good
I think so.
idea, I think it'll work out.
So hopefully by the next meeting, we'll be able to have some updates on as far as where we might be.
Probably won't be the next meeting, it'll probably be when they're asked to get them out of there.
Well, I think there was that's one of the problems, it turned into a base camp. I mean, guys are using them as base camps, I mean, if the stuff's there up, it's being blocked
Out
up.
of their garage in the winter.
Yeah,
Yep.
So
that's no bueno.
if we go
Yeah.
forwards
Work
with what
trailers
we're
on
thinking
the
about
weekends.
going forwards, which we want to run by everybody before we put it out there, that would alleviate the possibility of having, we'd have control over it.
Yeah, bring us the proposals.
We'll put it
We
together.
will, eventually.
And just the last thing that I have is, yes, Barb, I did contact HR consultants, I talked to Jeff Travers, and you all have a sample, that's just a sample of one of the policies that he has already made up in its regards to home, working at home for employees. But yes, there's a whole bunch of policies that, if we ever have to go through this again, policies are extremely important that you can just go ahead and deal with, so. He's working on that, he is starting to hear about it. And in the, what was that magazine, Tones and Topics magazine, there was some stuff in there about it. And he asked me to send me an issue so that he can see that, because he hasn't seen it, so.
Good.
It was a good conversation, and he's all about it.
It might be the new norm, working going forward.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, along that note, sometimes good things come out of these bad. I was in on a teleconference, or a phone conference with, Mr. Vanek last week, and when I got on, when it was my turn to get on, I discussed the broadband problem, and I said that now I have a reason for wanting the broadband, because we've proven that you can work from home now. And we have what I consider a really nice living area for raising families, et cetera. And this would be an ideal time for us to start attracting them if I have reliable broadband out there to help us reverse the migration that's left here. So it was a point I made. So sometimes good things come out of these waters we're navigating right now. So, you're right.
Just keep moving the ball forward on that, that's all.
That's all we can do. So, all right. Nancy, do you have anything?
I do, I've got quite a few.
Okay.
We have a letter from View. They want to have their ice cream social. It's right now, it's dated Friday, August 14th. They're gonna set up around 9. The event will take place at 11 and end sometime between 3 and 3:30. As of right now, View hasn't canceled any of their events, so this is a request. I don't really need a resolution, just, they've done it in the past, are you okay with the future?
Got my vote.
And if they cancel it, obviously we'll let everybody know, but as of right now, it's slated for the 14th on Point Park.
Okay.
11 to 3:30 is the actual event.
That's all subject to the guidelines.
Exactly. It's all
At the
sub-
time,
it's
yeah,
all
whatever it is
subject-
at the time.
It's all subject to the future.
Mhm.
And the next thing, we are set to have our junk days, June 6th, June 13th, and June 20th. I'm assuming we're still gonna have them?
I have no problem with it.
I talked to Scott, he assumes we're having them, and we're set. Is the board okay with that?
I think we should,
I
because
think we have to.
people have
Okay.
been hoeing out like crazy
Yeah.
with all this
I'm just-
time, so.
I hate to have to go pick it up off the snowmobile trails.
Right.
I'm just putting it out there, so
Yeah.
we're set to have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
People have been good up the transfer station.
What was the dates on that now?
It's the first 3 Saturdays in June, so it's June 6th, June 13th, and June 20th. It's 8 to 4.
Social distancing,
Yeah, I mean,
PPE.
Well, they're on their summer hours now up there.
yeah, the transfer station's open every day except for Wednesdays now. Okay, so I'll tell Scott we're good to go on that.
Yep.
Okay, now I need some resolutions. The Kiwanis is having their annual raffle this year on October 15th, so they are looking for a raffle license for 2020. Need a resolution for that?
Have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we let them
Councilman
do
Ross?
it.
Second.
Second.
Councilman Green? Councilwoman Green? Almost. Didn't throw anything. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
The fire department, they are not having bingo this year, but they're still having their raffles. So their raffle is September 19th of 2020, so they're looking for a raffle license for 2020.
So moved.
Councilman Hill?
Is that done?
Nelson.
Councilman Gard? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved.
It's a shame too, that they usually do pretty good with bingo.
That pays the lifeline.
Yeah. And Old Forge Fire Department will still be having
Legal.
a bell jar raffle, which they do in fire school. So they're looking for a game of chance license. They get one every year.
So do I have a motion for
So moved.
Councilman Hill? Second?
Second.
Fire
Councilwoman
school
Green?
right now is still
Fire
going?
school's still going, yep.
Subject to rules and regulations.
Everything's subject.
Understood, I just,
Okay.
I didn't cancel it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? That's all right. Are you opposed?
No.
Oh, good. Okay, so moved.
That's all I have.
All right,
I'm good.
thank you. All right, the attorney's not here. I am going to get into, I want to thank everybody. We got emails from 9 or 10 different people for the meeting. I'm going to open up with a synopsis of, I had a phone conference with the county last night for an hour and a half. As you may or may not know, we are in the Mohawk Valley region, which includes Oneida County, Schoharie County, Otsego County, Fulton County, Montgomery, and Herkimer counties. All right, we have passed the 7 parameters to begin the 4 phases of opening up as of Friday. The first phase includes construction, manufacturing, retail for curbside pickup, which an online presence would probably be a boon for some of these retailers here in town. I've passed a few things along to the CAA and to CAP 21 about different areas that are using a town-wide online presence to sell things to look at. Wholesale trade is also included along with agriculture, forestry, fishing, and hunting. All right. For these businesses to open up, and I will post all this on the website tomorrow, they are required to go to the Empire State Development esd.ny.gov and they have to fulfill a pledge for safety, read it, sign it, and download it, which I look for, and I don't think it's up yet.
I'll be tucking it.
Yeah, I looked for it,
Very good point.
I couldn't find it either. However, tomorrow is when we're gonna get the guidelines for a rollout on Friday, from what I was told. So, and then there's the business safety standards that's on the same site that must be met, and cause complaints will be reported to ESD's website. Violations are handled by the sheriff, and then they're passed on to local law enforcement, and most of them have been fairly minor. The control room for all this will be in Oneida County. They'll do the dashboard reporting as far as reported positive cases, et cetera, et cetera. The reports are all done on 3-day averages, and you have to remember that it's the entire region. It's not by county, it's the entire region. So we're going to be doing that. Final reports on specifics, they'll be out Wednesday, there'll be a rollout Friday. And we have to make this work the first time. Okay. I'm very proud of the way the town has conducted itself through all this. We've done well. We've kept our cool, we've done what we were supposed to. We have kept the numbers negligible, which has been good. And if this doesn't work the first time, it may be a while till we get a second chance. So
Make it work.
we gotta make it work. All right, just so you know, these are just numbers. They went by department, public health got on, they're doing about 460 tests a day. There is nobody hospitalized in Herkimer County right now for it. There's 38 mandatory quarantines, and it changes on a daily basis. And I'll go over the rest of the numbers and things later. The sad news was that the state sales tax that we're going to get is going to be down 50%. So we're going to take a hit there. I don't know the number yet. We won't probably for another month or 2. Exactly. But I will be looking at the stimulus 4 packages coming out. This what they passed along to us for relief. Okay. The phases are 2 weeks in length, so we'll go through 2 weeks of phase 1. If everything goes well, we shift into phase 2, which I don't remember exactly what comes on board then, but I believe it's professional services, barber shops and salons, if I remember right. Rentals, real estate rentals and leases.
Retail.
Yeah. Retail is, it might be full retail, small business retail.
Not curb service, but.
Yeah, they'll be able to open up.
And that's 2 weeks, did you say?
That'll be in 2 weeks.
After 2 weeks.
If we pass the first test, then we go to phase 2. And then phase 3 and phase 4. There are 4 phases every 2 weeks. So, and there were several discussions on several different subjects. And if I could borrow your sheet here, because I forgot to put mine in here. This is, what I did was there was a lot of repetitive questions on the emails and comments. And so I kind of set it into a synopsis. So we have all the background now. But this is an answer to the emails. We will be following guidelines established by the New York State, the Governor's Office, and the Empire State Development, ESD, for Phase 1 of the New York Forward reopening of our economic developmental region. The control room again will be in Oneida County. And again, remember, these are 3-day averages, so if you see a spike, don't despair, because that spike will be averaged out over 3 days. Public health, I've been working with them, I've been talking to them concerning testing in conjunction with Bassett Hospital. Currently, right now, Bassett is putting together a bus to use as a mobile testing unit to travel around the county and around the region. The number, I have a phone number to call for testing, which is and this will be posted on our website tomorrow, 607-547-5555. And when you call it, you'll be triaged by a nurse, and if you need to be tested, then a healthcare provider will follow up with instructions. They'll call you back, is what it's going to amount to. Essential workers right now have a priority at this time, with emphasis to incorporate the public later. This is how they're wording it. And tests can be conducted either on that mobile bus if it happens to be here, and we're discussing having it up here at least once a month. So
That'd be great.
we're working on it. And they've been very cooperative because I've been pestering them, which sometimes works well. Or there are testing sites at the Bassett facility in Herkimer or over at Griffiths. Either one can be used right now. So stand by for that. The biggest bottleneck for all of this is test kits. They're in short supply.
And technicians.
And technicians. Technicians especially for the antibody testing. So, all right, there's a number for antibody testing. And this is done down at the primary care facility and the Bassett facility in Herkimer County. The primary care and the Bassett facility. The number to call for that is 315-867-2700. And as Barb mentioned, we're also talking to MVHS as to what we could have done through the lab up here for at least antibody testing. Antibody testing can be a good thing. I can tell you that you don't have to worry so much. You've already had it. You have an immunity to the virus. And in some countries, they actually give you a green card that allows you to go back to work and move around.
I'll give you a good footprint of what's actually
Yeah.
going on.
Right, exactly. So that's why we need, that's why they say testing is the secret to opening up. Okay. As far as the business opening guidelines, they're provided at the governor, at governor.ny.gov, and again, we'll post this for you tomorrow. And the pledge that will be needed to be signed and downloaded, that will be at the esd.ny.gov website, along with instructions, something called business safety precautions, which is a guideline again to how to prepare your business for the public. What you need: hand sanitizer, masks, gloves, the little arrows on the floor, and the 6-foot markers, things like that. All right. Enforcement is relegated to the Herkimer County Sheriff's Department. So when a complaint comes in to ESD, it goes to the Sheriff's Department. And if they're able to investigate it, they will. Nobody's coming up here. We already know that. So they will relegate it to our local law enforcement or codes department, depending on which one it involves. And just in the last 2 or 3 days, they've also called the state police. So now they can go ahead and enforce it also. They actually weren't able to until about 2 days ago, through a glitch or whatever. All right. There were some inquiries there as to the social media site. So a couple of us have discussed it. I didn't get a chance to see you, Don, but I think it'd be a nice idea if Kurt is offered to set up a Facebook site that we could post things on.
Just a government page.
Just a government type,
Okay.
no discussion, just a site to post things on Facebook.
Yeah, so you don't want a lot of questions coming back, it's more of a bulletin board.
No, we could put up the daily, I don't know if any of you get the daily report from Jim Bono.
Yeah.
So we could post that on there for everybody to look at.
Any public notices that Nancy?
Public notices.
Yeah.
As much information as we have,
Yeah,
but not too much that it becomes ambiguous.
right. All right, so I mean, I've been in a lot of discussions with the county. We're working on things. I have not been able to answer questions, to be honest with you, up until yesterday. Yesterday was probably one of the most beneficial. I have 5 pages of notes from an hour and a half's conversation on the phone. I was writing feverishly at one point.
Yeah.
It's just trying to get everything down. There were a lot of questions, things like campgrounds. A lot of things are up to interpretation. Campgrounds, if you interpret it, you can interpret it a lot of different ways. They interpret it as the same as a hotel. It's just a rental, it's rented living space, temporary living space. So they're, as far as they're concerned, Herkimer County, the campgrounds are good to go right now.
Private ones.
Private ones. State is scheduled to open June 1st. State campgrounds are scheduled for June 1st right now. The private ones can be open now, but you have to close the beach areas, any place where people congregate. So, and then what their attitude is, let's open them up until we're told they have to close. That's all. That's all we can
And
do.
but right now, the state ones are scheduled for June 1st?
Yes.
And that's the same thing for the hotels and campgrounds, whatever. The amenities are basically closed until phase
that's
3.
right.
Right.
But you can stay, you just can't recreate on the property.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can rent a room,
Right.
but you can't swim in the pool. Basically.
And that opens when?
Phase 3.
Phase 3 will be,
Okay, yeah.
yeah. Phase 2 was, I think it included libraries and the campgrounds, et cetera, barbershop, salons, things like that.
Thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Really?
No kidding. No kidding.
So, one thing the county did say is they're still up in the air concerning their summer programs down there. They're still keeping their options open. I personally have been kind of trying to go 2 weeks at a time on a lot of things, just to see which way the wind's blowing. I am scheduled for another phone conference with everybody next Monday night, so I will have more, and as soon as I hear anything, I will forward it to you. Be more than happy to. The last thing I want to say is that, this is, again, a reminder, it's our chance to get back to work. We gotta do it right, we gotta play by the governor's rules, otherwise he will get even. We have to abide by his directives, so let's just show him how we do it, okay? And if we do our share, things will fall into place. Everybody stay safe, we're gonna try and we have to protect our people. Remember, we're not protecting just us, we have a retired population up here that lives here in the summer. We're thinking of those people too. So if anybody has any questions, be more than happy to take them, call the office here at 369-3121, or my cell phone again at 369-8578. And we will post all this information on the website tomorrow, and then eventually get it up on the Facebook page. So that's what I have so far.
To be continued.
Stand by for the rest of it.
I think it's good for
Any
everybody
questions?
too, also to, the message that, and the business group that I'm part of, is this unified message of, wearing masks
Right.
in businesses and everything like that, and having a standard message. So, that group is really working hard to create a standard message, which they're hoping all the businesses will get involved with this, and have it spread across, between Forestport and Racket Lake. That's what their goal is to have a standard message if they can get everybody on board with that.
The supplies are starting to loosen up. When I first tried to order masks for the employees here in town, I had a tough time.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah.
You got,
I ended up getting 500. I finally ordered 500 and had to wait an extra week to get them here, but it was a little tough. Now things are starting to loosen up again. And again, I will reiterate, if you have spray bottles or pump bottles, you want some hand sanitizer, if you need some hand sanitizer to fill them with, we have plenty here, to use.
There was a comment this morning on the news, and it was I think it was a bar owner in Alaska, they were trying to open up, and he said his comment was, we can't mess this up, or we're going right back to staying home. It was a wonderful comment that he made.
That's right.
Well, we're all responsible for each other, and that's the most important thing to think about, that every county, every town,
Mhm.
every individual has to remember that we're responsible for the other person. So,
Yeah.
that's what keeps us honest, I think,
Yeah. I mean, we're all part of a bigger picture of 6 counties,
Yeah.
what we are. And for once, us being part of the Mohawk Valley Economic Developmental Region was an advantage, because the North Country right now hasn't met the parameters yet, so they can't open up yet.
I believe I just read, if I read it right, that they just did a lot of,
They're testing everywhere.
They're-
That was their thing. They had to
they
test.
are looking more likely to be able to.
Yeah.
But they
They
have,
just scrambled.
They're scrambling to get.
they're scrambling, so it's not a done deal yet, but.
Speaking of testing, Ron Johnston texted me today that Hamilton County is gonna do a testing site in Inlet for first responders. So, John Fry contacted him and said that he should be able to get his guys, the police officers up there to be
Oh,
tested,
nice.
which would be great,
Yeah.
along
is
with
good.
all the EMS. I don't know if they're including our EMS, but he said the police at least.
All right, last thing, I left a couple of things in your folders. One is to look at for the purchase of the groomer for next year to see if you're interested. And also, there was a COVID opening up, it's from NYMER, it was a recommendation for opening up during the pandemic.
Okay,
It was just interesting reading, so I put it in there for you. And that's all I have.
good.
Huh, almost as long as yours, Mark.
No, you've done good.
Where are we? We have some time. I'd like to go into an executive session, talk about some negotiations that we've been ongoing. I don't plan on doing any business afterwards, so I'll get this out of the way. I'd like a motion to pay the audited claims.
So moved.
Okay, Councilman Ross and Hale? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I'd like a motion to go into an executive session for,
So moved.
Second.
For, I'm sorry, finish your thought, so nobody says you have no reason.
for ongoing negotiations.
Okay.
No problem. All right, so I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we will be going into an executive session, Dana. When we come out, we won't be doing any business. We will just be adjourning them, but you'll have to wait till they come out.
Turn, you're off.